With the likes of Jeff Teat, Larson Sundown, Randy Stotts, Cody Jamieson, we could have some highlight reel goals this coming weekend. And let's not forget two of the most wild goaltenders in Warren Hill. And Zach Higgins Friday night as we have a TSN NLL doubleheader as we come to you live from Ottawa. We are the Weston. Pat's just on the other side of the wall into 2026. I'm in 2024. What's going on, man? It's good to be in the capital city for another game. First one of the new year for us.
Yeah, it's exciting. It was a 1 week layover for myself, 2 week lay, 2 week off for the TSN game of the week, but we're back with a bang. We're back with a vengeance. It's a doubleheader. Ottawa, Halifax, you already talked about it. Big game in Cowtown. Forever a roughneck game for Dane Dobie. We'll get to that, but an absolutely loaded schedule after a little bit two quieter weeks during the holiday season.
They may have been quiet, but they were very, very entertaining. Let's get the formalities out of the way. If you want to get a hold of us here at the show, you can find him on Twitter at @PGreggy. I am at Teddy Jenner. The show at OTCB_podcast or on the Instas at OTCB podcast. Quick week 6 recap. Not exactly to the standard of one Tyler Pace on the morning shoot around when he does his weekly recaps. I'd like to take breaths during mine, so I'll do this a little slower pace. But to quote Cody Jamieson, the Bisons blitz the Birds in 2 games as Derek Keenan coaches his 300th in the NLL. Buffalo is 23-0, Patty, since 2016 when leading by 7 in the fourth quarter. That's a Bud Bailey stat. They almost let it slip away, though, as Kluche and Fraser tried to go full WWE heel mode. The Black Bears and Firewolves go back and forth in a wild game, but a 5-goal run sealed the deal for the Bears. Jack Hanna debuts for the Mammoth, who put up 18 on Rochester, but have lost Ryan Lee for the year. And the Roughnecks finally start on time and finish strong for their first win of the season. There are so many underlining storylines, but what we just found out today, as I was flying here, as you were getting ready to fly, horrible news out of the Colorado Mammoth camp that Ryan Lee has been moved to the season-ending injury reserve. We all kind of saw what happened on the boards. The worst part, Patty, is it's not the knee that we believe. It's not the knee that had surgery on it before. It's his left leg, and the guy just cannot catch a break. And in the grand scheme of things, neither can the Mammoth.
Yeah, you get one step forward getting Jack Hanna into that lineup. Looked absolutely dynamic. Excited to see both those two guys play side by side. And then it's one gigantic step backwards as the heartbeat of that offense in Ryan Lee. We find out that it is indeed, we saw him go on the IR, but then we saw him now be announced that he's done for the year. A guy, like you said, can't catch a break, has been through so many injuries throughout his career. I just hope we see this guy play lacrosse again. He's at 31 years old. How many major surgeries has this guy had to go through? You absolutely feel for him. You feel for Colorado and their fan base, but most specifically Ryan Lee, because the game of lacrosse is a lot better. The NLL is a lot more fun to watch when Flying Ryan Lee is in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I shot him a text today, and as good a spirits as he can be, he said, you know what, just another bump in the road. So hopefully this is a speedy recovery for Ryan, and he gets back soon, and we'll be able to see him doing what he does best, because he was starting to get into a rhythm. And man, how excited were all of us to see him and Jack Hanna patrolling that side of the floor at the Loud House. They were looking great. They put up an unbelievable showing in that game, but unfortunately at the end of the day, another heartbreaking loss for Colorado, who will hopefully get Andrew Q back in the next week or so. When you look at some of the other games throughout week 6, what were some of the results that stood out to you?
I think my who you got, or my Preston's picks, or even my I guess we weren't too bad in the Lax Tillyman. But but like all things considered, not entirely shocked by too many of the results. I think we talked about it before, this Halifax Saskatchewan series. Halifax dominated for a very long time. And then we're now starting to see the swings that now it's Saskatchewan with the better of them. I still, it feels like we're having the same conversation with that team. And I think we're going to have the same conversation with Halifax until they prove us wrong that the two biggest problems with the team is discipline. And I guess that this is also discipline too. It's not just staying out of the box, but getting off the floor, not allowing an athletic team to take over. But I guess the biggest surprise for me, Teddy, would probably be the Mammoth putting up 18 on Rochester and winning so comfortably, even though it kind of got close at the end. That probably be the biggest shocker for me. I didn't pick the Roughnecks. I had a feeling that if there was a trap game or a game that the Roughnecks were going to get to start this season, that was going to be the one.
Yeah, that was an interesting game because for some reason it just looked like Chris Origlieri is not very comfortable in between the pipes, and that's hurting them right now because they have such high hopes with him in there. But I think it was Adam Levy said it on Twitter. Maybe we should, have more coaches calling out their teams because, Pat Coyle called out his team. They got a great response and a big victory. Josh Sanderson called out his team. They got a great response and a big victory. So, sometimes teams just need to fire a lid under their ass, and maybe it's time for Pat Merrill to do the same with that San Diego team because they're underachieving right now. But yeah, I know a lot of people are calling for it. Are we too high on Rochester? I was that guy a couple weeks ago that said, these guys are going to be a problem. And the way Rylan Hartley was playing and that offense and everything looked good. And you were of the camp, this defense isn't as good as we think it is. And that was very evident in that game against Colorado. Is that a concern for Rochester fans, Patty?
I think it's a cause for concern. I don't think it's let's hit the panic button and act as if the sky is falling. I still thought they were giving up too many shots. I thought they were giving up too many quality shots. It's just the fact that Rylan Hartley was really masking a lot of those issues. We have said all along that if Rylan Hartley can be a MVP goalie, then this team has a chance to go on a deep run. How sustainable is it for him to be an MVP? I don't think it's all that unsustainable, to be quite honest. I just think he needs to be better than what he was on the weekend. I think he is a good goalie, and good goalies are allowed bad games from time to time. We're not expecting him to be perfect for all 18. And to be quite honest, the one kind of positive you can take is that even despite how poorly the defense played, how their goaltenders didn't really give them much, the offense is so damn good that they're really never out of any game. So cause for concerns, no doubt. Rylan Reese still not in the lineup is a guy that they are desperately missing. With that being said, if this team believes they're a championship team, I think Dan Carey at some point this season is going to have to pick up his phone and add a defender, a veteran championship type of defender on that back end, because I do think they're built pretty strong. I just feel like they got a lot of the same type of players who like to get out and transition, push the ball, play a little aggressive. They need a couple more of those Grizzly vets on the back end, which they have a few, but I'd like to have a little more of that balance.
Yeah, I hear you. This is the new rule that everyone's been focusing on, 67-16, player blocking shots. I think you kind of agree with me, and I haven't had a chance to have a good chat with Brian Lemon about how this is supposed to properly be officiated. But I want to go over the rule again and get your thoughts of how it's being called so far. So 67.16, the player blocking shots in the crease rule. A player other than the designated goalie in their own crease who attempts to interfere with an opponent's shot when the ball is above the goal line extended will be assessed a minor penalty for delay of game. The exception this rule doesn't apply to dunks or dive attempts. This is so in such a gray area for me because guys are going to be in the crease. And sometimes, yes, guys are getting down and still trying to block shots. And I get that. But sometimes they're just getting hit with the ball. Now it's sort of my thing. I said, if I'm going to see a guy in the crease, I'm just going to fire it at him and make the referees make that decision. Oh, well, I shot the ball. He was in the crease and it hit him. Whether he meant to or not, he blocked it. So we're even seeing guys like go down to, or like he's just standing in the crease and it doesn't even hit them. And they're getting called for it, which again, by the letter of the rule is there. I just think it's so hard for these guys at such a fast pace to be able to always have their wits about them and where they are and not go to that natural instinct of being a defender and just trying to get away of the shot. I know you have some close relationships with some of the officials out there. Have you talked to them? Are they as confused about this as some of us are?
I don't want to say they're confused, but they definitely do think that it is a very difficult, penalty to call.
Yeah.
And to clear things up, it is, they are calling it the way that it is written. It's just, I think the way it's written, there is a lot of room for interpretation or confusion.
Right.
I mean, to be quite honest, a lot of rules in that rule book are left to be for interpretation. Talking to some of the officials, they don't necessarily think it's a difficult or they're confused by it or struggling with it. It's just because you are right. It is so bang, bang. It's difficult to make that call. If it hits them in the crease, sure, no problem. That's very easy to judge. Guy in crease makes an attempt to block the shot. Now you have to have, okay, well, if he's just in the crease and the ball kind of goes past him, is he really trying to make an attempt? What if a guy's running through the crease? Well, that's not by the rule. He's not making an attempt, but if he's in the crease, now there's a lot going on. Yeah. The refs have their eyes on a bunch of other things. This is why, for me, Teddy, I wanted it. If a defender gets hit in the crease, it's just a 30-second reset. Like, I just thought, like, if defender's in the crease, now you become an extension of the goalie. If it hits you, 30-second reset. Then under that, what is it? A minute? If you block a shot under a minute, okay, now let's call it a penalty. Because again, at the end of the game, teams aren't going to care, especially under 30 seconds. The shot clock's dead at that point, right? So that's where I thought maybe that would make a little more sense. But all in all, I'll give the refs credit. This is very difficult to officiate. I think if you're upset with the rule or the way it's being called, take it up with the actual rule itself, because I do really believe, Teddy, that that it is a very challenging rule to assess on the fly.
Let's go to our big takeaways for this week, Patty. I want to get your thoughts on some things, and I know you have a good one. But a few weeks ago, I said I thought the rookie of the year was going to come from a D or a transition guy, looking at Grace or English. But you have a name that you want to throw into this conversation, and I'm not hating the argument.
Yeah, I think we really need to start considering Pat Cavanaugh for Rookie of the Year. And I am all in for having a defender, a transition player, win this award, because as you and I have said many times on this program, the D guys don't get the love they deserve. And to be quite honest, Sam English and Mike Grace, they're getting their flowers. But once again, it's the offensive guys coming in and stealing their shine. And I think Pat Cavanaugh is a guy that's starting to steal some shine in just 2 games so far, Teddy. 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points. He's leading all rookies in points per game. That's higher than CJ Kirst. That's higher than Owen Hiltz. Like, this guy is putting up some big numbers in the first 2 games that he's played. And also, he's 8th in loose balls. He has been an absolute menace in that offensive end, extending possessions. I love what I'm seeing out of him. I think he is one of the few bright spots for this Seals team for a very disappointing start to their season. And I think if I had to pick my ballot right now, I don't know if he's the winner, Teddy. Probably going with English or Grace, but this guy's on my ballot right now. There's no doubt about that.
4th on the Seals and loose balls behind Courier, Baptiste, and Berg. So
crazy.
That says how much. And when you watch him out there, you can see how hard he's working and how effective he is in getting those extra possessions and the resets and the loose ball battles in the corner. There was even one I think it might have been on a power play where he got a loose ball, fed it out, and actually went to the wrong side of the floor on the crease and switched hands and got a one-time pass for the lefty shot. Like, that's the nuances of the American game and their skill set that makes them so valuable, because the ones that get it right away, and they understand where they can be successful. And I think that's what Pat Cavanaugh has done, is that, you know what, he may not be the number one threat, but he can do all the little things that help the number one threat get open. And when the doubles come, he's going to be there and he's going to capitalize. And his work ethic has been phenomenal. And we just found out that his brother is on the evaluation list. So we could get 2 Cavanaughs in the lineup this weekend for San Diego.
Yes.
My big takeaway revolves around San Diego as well. And I was just thinking about, what matchups am I going to want to see down the stretch? What rivalries are there? But what also is going to be maybe a battle for a playoff spot? And I don't know if you saw this yet. The final weekend of the NLL season, the San Diego Seals and Las Vegas Desert Dogs play back-to-back games. The 17th in Vegas, or in San Diego, the 18th in Vegas. That game, to me, Patrick, will be a winner-take-all decider for the final playoff berth in the playoffs. It is one of the juiciest matchups the scheduler could have given us to end the year. The home and home Cy Bowl, and it's going to be for a playoff spot. It couldn't be even scripted any better. I can't wait. And the way those two teams are playing right now, a little hot, a little cold, a little up, a little down, with a lot of good. I think it's going to come down to that final weekend, and I can't wait. And that's just sort of one of those little nuances of our league. But the fact that we're going to get those two teams who are going to be battling for a playoff spot at the end of the season, the final weekend in a home and home, absolute chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's awesome. And let's be honest, like, Vegas has played them pretty well. I think they've beaten them twice, even in the games that a couple of those games that they have played each other, and it's been San Diego coming up top. Like, I think a couple of those games have been within 1 or 2 goals. But now you've put the fact of the matter is that this Vegas team is a lot better, especially offensively. And when you think about it, San Diego, look, I was looking at CoolBet's odds for them to win, just overall, like, updated NLL futures odds. And I don't think I've ever seen this big of a number beside the San Diego Seals. 19-1. They have the 4th longest odds. Only the Roughnecks, the Firewolves, and the Wings have longer odds for them. Perennial, always near the top. Always, always, always. We see the Seals around plus 900. Plus 1,200, plus 15, maybe at the max, at the absolute max. I have never seen them this close to 20-1. This is crazy.
The fact that with that's an astronomical number, but with all the hopes we had for Oshawa, that they're that far of long shots, just blows my mind.
Actually, they're tied dead last, longest odds with Philadelphia right now, 30-1. So if you still think Oshawa can turn around, what do they say, Teddy? Buy low. That could be a buy low spot for this Firewolves team right now.
The big dog, Ashley Docking, will join us in a minute. We're just about to hop into the mailbag, and we asked you to participate, and you came out in droves. So let's dive in.
You've got mail.
Over on our social media, you might have noticed that we gave you a little incentive to participate this week in the mailbag. You could either get a $100 voucher for the NLL shop, or a $100 bonus coupon for CoolBet. We got a ton of submissions. So what we're going to do is everybody who submitted a question or a hot take, you'll get entered into the draw. Stay tuned to your social medias and our social medias and your DMs. We'll let you know who won. But we picked 3 to kind of talk about, because we couldn't answer. We'll answer them indirectly, but not here on the show. The 3 we're going to go with. First one comes from El Capitan of Daily Dive fame. Will the Toronto Rock be sellers again at the deadline, but this time fully commit to their rebuild?
I am going to say, and I don't have the full contract status right in front of me at this moment,
Okay.
but based upon all the expiring contracts that they had last year that they dished out and got a lot of those contracts back, leads me to believe that I don't know how many pieces they're willing to deal. And to be quite honest, I know El Capitan is kind of hinting he thinks that this should be a rebuild. I don't think the Toronto Rock are rebuilding. They're maybe retooling, but they're not hitting the reset button by any stretch of the imagination. That's just not in Jamie Dowick's DNA. And with the pieces that they do have, I just personally, I don't see it happening. If they can, I mean, he proved it last year. He'll flip some rentals here and there.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to be able to replicate what he did. But you've got Ty English coming in next year. You've got a first-round pick. You traded away to Halifax in the Chris Boucher deal, but then you get Calgary. So they're likely getting a top 3 pick, maybe
Probably
like depending
top
on how
five
Calgary.
Probably at worst, top 5 at worst.
At worst, top 5.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
No, I agree. I think the one concern is goaltending. And we know how good Nick Rose can be. And obviously they've had Troy around there for quite a long time. And I don't know if either one is really taking the reins and maybe that's just because there's such a cloud of doubt, in that situation. But I think if there's going to be one area where Jamie tries to improve, and as much as he loves Rosie and has such an affinity for their relationship, that might be somewhere where they try and make a change to bolster their team. I don't know what it is, but if they can shore up that and have a little bit more confidence with the way that team is trending, I think that's one area that they might quote unquote rebuild. So El Capitan, thank you for that question. Next we go with a rising social media darling, Kai the goalie down in Georgia. Pat Gregoire, name your top 5 NLL goalies right now.
Right now, or top 5 goalies? Okay, well, I'm still it's gonna be right now. And the way that I'm gonna say this is like, if I had choices with a goalie, I had a draft. This is my big board who I'm taking.
Okay.
So it starts number 1, and I think he's number 1 on a lot of people's list, Christian Delbianco.
Fair assessment.
Number 2 is Doug Jamieson.
Okay.
Number 3, Frank Chiliano.
Okay.
Number 4, I'm still putting him here, Matt Vince.
Okay. I actually thought you'd have put him higher, considering.
And number 5, my number 5 spot. I know Brett Dobson's been playing great.
You're not having him in your top 5?
And so is I'll go Dobson. I was going to put Hill in that
who are
5,
you wavering?
but I'm going to go Dobson. Dobson or Hill at 5.
Okay, that's fair.
But here's the thing, Teddy. Here's the thing. If this is a one-off, one game now this year, one game, I'm picking Matt Vince 10 times out of 10. Like, it's not even a question. This is who I'm like, goalies of the future, of right now, build a franchise around. How are you playing down the stretch? That's why Vince was a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But I know come finals, come game 1, come game 2, game 3 of the finals, Matt Vince is going to be the guy. That's why he's probably way too low on my list, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
I understand your logic, though.
That's my logic.
Okay. Top 5 for me: Delbs, Dauber. I'm going to do the same thing you did. Delbs, Dauber, Warren, Dougie, Frank, Vino. And so I chirped you. I got Vino on the bubble as well. So I completely and who are we talking to? Oh, it was Higgy this week, right? And we kind of asked him about the state of goaltending, and he said, "Well, you look at the roster of starting goaltenders right now, the majority of the guys outside of, Matt Vince, are coming into their prime. Our late 20s, early 30s, right around that area where the best goalies really start to find their form. And we're seeing it this year with some of the numbers these guys are putting up.
I will say this too, Teddy.
Yeah.
Are we absolute idiots for not having like Dylan Ward in our top 5? Because I'm starting to feel dumb. Like,
yeah, we can be dumb.
yeah,
Not,
I mean,
that's obvious. We're dumb.
well, we know that. We absolutely know that.
So, great question, Kai. I'd love to hear your thoughts on who the top 5 NLL goalies are currently right now, and maybe, do the same as Patty. If you had to pick one goalie for one game, who is your guy? Final question comes from Nathan in Colorado, and this is an interesting sort of brain thinker, and maybe we'll get Ashley's thoughts when we get her onto this, but who would be your top 3 blue chip celebrity ownerships for an NLL team, and in what city would they go to? And he gives the example of Mark Cuban and Dallas.
I didn't know this was top 3, Teddy. I thought there was only one, so I'm going to give out my one.
If you have one, sure, just give me one.
No, because this is great. I mean, my pick was I would love Pat McAfee to get a team and bring it to Indianapolis.
All right, I'm down.
Here's the thing. I think you need an owner that's passionate. I think you need an owner that's going to get their face out there. I think you need an owner that loves the game and isn't just doing this to help his buddy out to bring out a team. I want someone who is going to be forward facing. I want someone who has proven he loves the game of lacrosse and he is falling in love with box lacrosse. I think he would be the perfect celebrity for it. He'd be talking about the game on the McAfee Show, one of the biggest sports podcasts and shows on the planet. Pat McAfee bringing the Indianapolis, I don't know, what was it, the Racers or whatever that unboxed team is called. I would absolutely love it, Teddy. Who are you thinking?
I've been trying to rack my brain because McAfee is such a great choice. I'm trying to find the same sort of cachet or lineage. But remember when the ownership for Vegas was sort of first, the rumblings of who it was going to be was first coming out? Do you remember the name that didn't get announced that's still kind of been around the NLL for a little bit? Drew Brees. When I first heard the rumors, it was Nash, Gretzky, Cy, DJ, and Drew Brees. And I would love to see Drew Brees go full on and take a team to New Orleans. I know Nashville will be sweet, but
I love that. That would be
what
awesome.
about New Orleans? Get the French connection. You could be the Croziers. I think, that's. I should have thought about this more since I've been up since 3:30 in the morning today. I'm flying across the country, but I'm also kind of white. But that's just kind of. I think that would be kind of cool. I think Mark Cuban would be great. Let's get Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to actually pull the trigger and buy a team with OEG, put him in Edmonton. There's a ton out there. But we'll do a deeper dive into that, Nathan, and find some other options for you, my friend. But as we said, and we'll get Docs.
I've got 2. I've got 2, Teddy.
Right.
I've got 2. I got a couple more. Okay.
Hit me.
Method Man. Because I know he's a big PLL guy, but we could bring Method Man to bring a team to. Yeah, where do you think, Teddy? Where do you think would be
he's from Staten Island. That's where he's from, which is New York.
So you do New York team again, or maybe a Jersey? Maybe it's a New Jersey team.
Bring back the New Jersey
and then the other
or the New Jersey Storm.
Ooh, I
Just
don't
no
hate
limo
that.
drivers.
I don't hate
no limo drivers.
I don't hate that at all. No.
Way offside.
And then
what's your other one?
The other one, who I think would be awesome, is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick to bring a team, and maybe he partners with Tom Brady or maybe someone else from the New England Patriots lineage. But you bring maybe with Robert Kraft. Maybe actually him and Robert Kraft aren't too good buddies anymore. But I would love I would love to see Bill Belichick bring a team to somewhere in New England, probably Boston, but even anywhere. Maybe we bring back the an NL team to Pechanga or not Pechanga. What was the studio? The casino.
Oh, shit. Oh, I can see it. Welcome to New England Black Bulls game at the casino. Come on, Pat. This is how dumb we are.
Mohegan Sun.
There you
Mohegan
go.
Sun.
Mohegan Sun. All right. Well, yeah. Who would you think would be a great celebrity owner? Doc, get in the chat. Let's go. You're on the show. Coming up, our guest this week, Ashley Docking from TSN and Toronto Rock Floor Reporting. Our guest this week on Off the Crossbar is brought to you by the Goalie Factory, new sponsors here on the show. The Goalie Factory helps goalies of all ages become complete athletes and improve their game through weekly camps based in Langley, BC. They have elite one-on-one coaching across the Lower Mainland and online coaching you can access anywhere. They focus on technical skill development and build the mindset it takes to perform at your best. Find the Goalie Factory on Instagram at @goaliefactory_ or visit goaliefactory.ca to book your session today.
Get your popcorn ready because something crazy is about to happen.
With the lighting of a gracious queen, it's the big dog. What's up, Doc?
What's up? What's up? How are you guys? I didn't know that was for your Instagram or Twitter handle. So
That's all right.
It works even better. That's even better.
Okay, Teddy, serving Edna realness with your glasses.
Right. So we were just answering a question in our mailbag, Doc, that was it was top 3, but Patty came up 3. I'm dumb, so I only got 1. But blue chip celebrity ownership for an NLL team, and what city would they go to?
Okay, so the only correct answer at this time, and I feel like I really nailed this question, is Connor Story and Hudson Williams, who play Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov in the transformative gay positive show Heated Rivalry. Not sure if you guys have heard of it. And obviously they'd have to go to Montreal. There's already a team in Ottawa. And so a Montreal team by these Canadian legends who are absolutely changing the game.
Yeah, that's a good pull. I like that. You see,
that's awesome.
You're always on the pulse of the extra level, and that's why we bring you on. How's you? I heard you were skating on the Rideau Canal today.
Yeah, rough track. They got some maintenance to do.
Snowboarding, and now you're ice skating. Like, what's going on?
Okay, so literally the hotel, I didn't realize they rent you skates for $10. The money goes to a charity. You could get it for 3 hours. They have like a whole stock in the back, tons of sizes. So I had some free time before you guys got here because you took the late flight. So I was like, let me get a little bit active. I did fall in the pond. That was rough. I feel as though I'm going to feel it tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, you got to just kind of do fun things sometimes. And as we get older, we forget that. So I'm just trying to, not to be too New Year's resolution about it, but just trying to explore, especially the cities that we travel to. We get no time. I think people don't realize that. Like, oh, you're here. It's like I fly in, I work, I leave. So I'm just trying to, experience everything Ottawa has to offer.
Were there a lot of people skating?
Well,
it was like 2 p.m. on a Friday, or Thursday. So no, people have jobs.
It is a government city. Everyone's done work by then.
I was going to ask you though. I mean, who made that edit? I know it was AI, but who made the edit of docking on ice? That was hilarious. I saw.
Oh, it was Joe.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he sent it to me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I have to add this sticker. It's so good.
That's so good. That's so
that guy Joe was always coming through.
It was the TSN team.
Part of me was, of course it was. I had a feeling it was someone from TSN. I was hoping that you guys were like pre-recording, like a pre-hit for tomorrow's game, but turns out you were just bettering yourself.
Turns out I was just being a better person than you guys,
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Yeah. Fire away, Patty. Let's get her going.
Okay. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah.
It's our annual tradition now, Ashley. We love having you.
Honored.
All right. Well, obviously, folks know you from TSN, but also you spent a lot of time with Toronto Rock doing their NLL Plus and TSN Plus, ESPN Plus games.
Yeah.
A lot of scared Toronto Rock fans right now, especially when it
Okay.
comes from the offensive side of the ball, averaging under 10 goals per game, 10th in the league. Should Toronto Rock fans be hitting that panic button when it comes to what this offense is doing right now?
I mean, I think they are a little bit as well. I mean, like Matt Sawyer, if you're listening, don't stop giving me quotes. Dan Dawson, don't stop giving me secrets. But I think that they're not happy with the way things are going either. I mean, the last game, it was tough. Like I'm in between the benches, so sometimes I can hear what the players and the coaches are saying, and I do my best not to, report on things that are irrelevant or that would like kind of break that unspoken trust. But in terms of coaches, like Dan Dawson was very frustrated with his offense. And I spoke to him a little bit before the game, and his whole thing, and Dan Dawson's like a philosopher, right? So sometimes you're listening to him, you're like, wow, yeah, like I never really thought of that. And you're like, wait, is he putting me on? Like, am I just getting caught up in the lore? But what he was saying is basically like, if we don't get into the tough areas, we're never going to be successful. And that's just the fact of the matter. He said, you can't stay outside on the L. Like, we need to get inside. We need to make sure that we're really trying to like grind it out. If you don't have cuts on your legs, if you have not hit the deck on a shift, are you working hard enough? That's the kind of questions that he was asking his team. And, the analogy he used is like, it's kind of an analogy for life, Ash. And I'm like, yo, pass the blunt. Because like, this is very like, it's very like, wow, I love this. But he's like, in all honesty, he's just like, Ash, it's an analogy for life because, you got to do hard things to get positive results. And at times, I guess he feels like the Rock aren't necessarily doing that. Again, they have the names, they have the talent, they have the mix of veteran presence and youth, they have the unassuming breakout stars from last year. So you think about it piece by piece, you're like, okay, maybe they're not the top offense in the league, but they're certainly not like a sub 10 offense. And so I don't know what they're going to do in terms of back to the drawing board, but one of the things that I think has been failing them a little bit this year is their lack of transition opportunities from some of the old faithfuls that we've seen. Obviously, Challen Rogers out the front door full time. We haven't really seen Latrell Harris up in the mix as much as you'd like to. Sam English has been a standout for them, but with who they have, you're like, oh my God, like in that game, Josh Jubenville's your leading scorer after the half.
Yeah.
With all respect to Josh Jubenville, like he's doing what he needs to do, but he can't be your leading scorer, and you guys think you're going to outscore your problems.
We have a lot. We have a lot to talk here, but I really want to stay on this topic here because last year, Jamie Dawick was the talk of the town around trade deadline. And for once, it wasn't because he was bringing in the troops. He was dishing out and bringing back draft picks. And a lot of folks are saying, okay, the rebuild, it's more of a retool, though. Do you think Toronto thinks about possibly not obviously selling? Because I think a lot of those expiring contracts are now secured. Do you think that they could go out and get someone at the deadline to make a push? Because I think if you ask anyone on that bench, I don't know about probably in the locker room too, they still feel like this is a team that should be battling for not just a playoff spot, but like making a deep playoff run here.
And I think, Pat, to your point, like that's why there are so many questions about this team. And I think that's why people who are fans of them or even just fans of the league are like, what the hell is going on in Toronto? Because it's been like 4 or 5 years of this team supposed to be like getting over that hump. And listen, it reminds me of like when the Toronto Raptors ran into LeBron James and the whole LeBronto era. It's like, no matter how good that goddamn team was, it's like you had to play LeBron James no matter what team he was on. And the Rock faced that a little bit with Buffalo. Like, oh, here we go again. Like, and so again, I don't know if you can necessarily hold that against them because they lost to a team that's a dynasty now. So there is something to be said about that. But to your point, like, yeah, the expectations are high for this team. And yeah, of course, Jamie has shown he doesn't give a shit. It's not working. Bye. See you later. Like, we'll try again next year. It is what it is. I think that when you talk about a retool or a rebuild, however you want to frame it, it's the same thing. It's like a white egg or a brown egg. Like, you're still getting the same amount of protein. So with these young guys, I think we are seeing that change of the guard. I think it's just going to be a slow process because you also don't want to completely tear it down and start again. I don't think that league is conducive to that. This league, excuse me, is conducive to that.
No.
Your hot take before the start of the season was that Vegas was a lock for the postseason. Through 4 games, they're 2-2, wins over Toronto and Ottawa. Are you still confident that the Desert Pups can make this thing happen?
I feel like, yeah, it's not looking too shabby. You don't agree?
Mm-hmm.
I feel
I'm not. We're not arguing. We're just recounting.
First of all,
history.
that wasn't confrontational. You don't agree, but I do think that it's still a lock and very much in the cards for them. No pun intended. When they came into Toronto, they just have a little bit of a different energy around them. They just have a little bit of a different swagger about them. I think we're seeing this team as a team that averaged in their losses last year, they lost by an average of 5.5 goals.
Yeah.
So when they were down bad, they were like really down and they didn't have that fight in them to rally or make a comeback, or you didn't feel maybe that they were like as dangerous. And so now that all the dust has settled with Jack Hanna and you're like, okay, cool. So we have Mitch Jones, we have Chris Cloutier, we have Chase Frazier. All of these guys are going to make a mark. And then you see what they did against Buffalo. And I think that against a team like Buffalo, if you're a team like Vegas, even though it was the Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup and there's like a lot on the line for everybody in a lot of different ways, especially with like Willie as your coach, you don't want to kind of roll over in those games, but it's easier said than done to not roll over. And I think Vegas showed that they have the gumption, they have the cachet, and now they have the guys who can go on solo missions and score 3 goals, Chris Cloutier, and score 2 more, Mitch Jones, and then maybe try and settle into more of a team game. So they have that diversity maybe they've been lacking previously.
Yeah, and I bet you
still feel confident they can make it.
Yes.
Could you not tell?
Yeah. Anyway, so I think they're gonna finish 12th. After all that positive stuff.
Here's the thing, Ashley, because I was one who was like, they're gonna be in the mix. I wasn't as confident as you, but I think your prediction probably looks even better if whoever in that organization upset the schedule makers, because they start things off at Vancouver, host Ottawa, at Toronto, at Buffalo, host Saskatchewan. What kind of gauntlet is that to start the year? That's insane. But they're sitting at 2-2, and even if they drop down to 2-3, I don't think we should be like, told you so, Ashley. You're done. Like, I still think this is a team that's going to compete to the end. Actually, Teddy's not even giving you enough credit. He thinks that it's going to come down to the last game. San Diego. Listen to this, though, Ashley. You love you love the script. Last game of the year between San Diego and Vegas, home and home. Like, I need both those teams to be fighting for a playoff spot. That would be absolutely electric.
So they're kind of in the same position, Vegas, as Albany, now Oshawa was last year. Didn't they have the same thing where they had a home and home with San Diego and then like a Buffalo mixed into it and it didn't go their way?
Yeah, it was real tight. It was really tight.
Well, I guess they better get to work before then, because I'm not trying to be proven wrong by a bunch of men just before summer hits.
Don't
not on the eve of International Women's Month.
Not 2 months before International Women's Day.
You talk about.
Let's focus on our game that we're calling this week, Patty, with Doc. You've been around the Thunderbirds for a lot over the years. Yeah. They're always in contention in win now mode, but the loss of Thomas Hogarth and Patty has been so adamant about this, but do you think they can overcome that loss?
I don't think they can overcome it in the sense that they can replace him or they can find somebody who's going to do what he's going to do. I think it has to be next man up. And I know that's cliche, but it actually has to be like, you have to find another gear. You have to find a way. You have to dig into your bag of tricks and say, okay, I've only been relied upon to, set some light screens, slip a screen and go inside, maybe shoot from the outside. Okay, what does my team need from me now? And what do the guys that I play with have to offer? And how can I offset that? Because as we talked about with Clark Peterson this week, with Micah Kersey this week, and I'm sure you guys have mentioned it before, it's like they don't know how they're going to replace him. They cannot replace him. He's too much of a big body. He's too talented. There isn't somebody that has that makeup. but they're going to have to dig into their bag of tricks. Like, it's Mary Poppins time, boys, because again, you talk about a team that has aspirations. Like, that's Toronto is Halifax. Halifax is Toronto, where they've fallen short. They've had a demon that they can't exercise in the playoffs. Ironically, Halifax's was Toronto a couple years ago. And so what are you going to do? Because everything around you seemingly has been like, okay, here's the platter. Here's all the pieces that you wanted. Here's guys that you like. Here's talent. Here's skill. Warren Hill's on another level right now. Do something.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to figure it out. That's just the way it goes. Like, everyone deals with injuries throughout the NLL every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a tough weekend for them after facing Ottawa. Hop on a bus, drive down the 401 and take on an Oshawa team that's
Are you going to that?
desperate. I will be in the building.
You're
He's
gonna
going to be there with his mutants.
Yeah, my mutant
Your
buddies.
mutant buddies. You stole that from Mark Matthews.
Yeah.
No credit given. Copyright infringement.
I mean, if you saw my buddies who I'm going with, you would agree they are absolute mutants.
Wait, I do have one question for you guys though,
Sure.
because when you talk about Halifax having a tough time on that back-to-back, the last game that they played against Oshawa was that 11-2 situation where Warren was just out of this world. He was only the second goalie to allow 2 goals in an NLL game, et cetera, et cetera. Who has the advantage mentally with Oshawa being like, I am not going to be embarrassed like that again? And then Warren being like, yeah, like, I was pretty good against you guys last time. Like, let's see what you got. I feel like there's pressure on both sides. And that I don't think people have been talking about enough.
I think the best, you kind of just answered your own question, shout out you and your big brain, but the mental edge goes to Warren and that defense.
Okay.
But the pressure and the want that Oshawa is going to want to have is going to be that much bigger. They were embarrassed. Like, talking to those guys after, like, they were like, I mean, Alex Simmons, one of the most confident guys on the planet. And he's like, he was not feeling great about himself. And talking to Clem Durazi, the offensive coordinator, like, he just couldn't even really, he's just like, I've never seen that before. Well, like, how does that happen? Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to be coming out firing, and you have a tired group before, but in their back pocket, it's Halifax is like, we held you guys to a 2-piece. We're fine. We got this. And
even
you go
if you
into
take that and double it, we're still good.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the difficult thing. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we do have this great game tomorrow. On the flip side, to talk about this Black Bears team. And I think everyone coming to this year was like, okay, Jeff Teat, is this the year? Do we get to see Jeff Teat play spring lacrosse? Do the Black Bears finally go over the hump and make the postseason?
Not if it means the Desert Dogs don't.
Touche.
I gotta stay loyal to my boys. I just have to. But
touche.
I think that when you talk about this Black Bears team, like, I don't want to say they were like hapless or like listless or anything like that, because
they weren't making your power rankings for the Vibes last year.
They weren't an all Vibes team. Like, it just is what it is. I'm so sorry, with all due respect. They just weren't. Like, I don't know what it was. It wasn't for lack of effort. It wasn't for lack of a better playlist, which Toronto, I have a considerable problem with your music choices in the locker room. Like, we get it. You love the Tragically Hip. Oh my God. Every day. Anyway, but I think it's just the injection of Danny Mack. I think it's the turnover of the entire coaching staff, essentially. Like, when you and we talk about this in other sports, but it's like, that like new coach bump, usually it happens mid-season and like after a team gets a coach fired, because let's be very clear, it's a team that gets a coach fired for the most part, that they feel bad and they rally. I think we're seeing like not an extended version of this, if you will, or just a rejuvenation. And sometimes it's not even like a knock to Dan Ladouceur and his group, who, like, we love them so much, have the utmost respect for them. Sometimes it's just about a match. Like, you could date a guy, or in your case, a girl. If not, we don't judge. you could date somebody and be like, oh, I really get along with this person. Like, it's a vibe. We can talk for 5 hours on the phone, but there's just that like something missing. And so the personnel and the marriage and the chemistry, that's not just between player to player. That's also between players and coaching staff. And how are you communicating with these guys where if they're not understanding your message, if it's not clogging, then you have to find a different way to explain it. And it just seems like whatever they've been able to encapsulate here in Ottawa, it's working. And like, you know, Teddy, you made a point of this on our coaches calls. Like, it hasn't been pretty. Like, let's be very clear for 4 seconds. I'm not being like, wow, look at that. It's glorious. It's something that you want your kids to play lacrosse like that all the time too. No, but they haven't fallen over and died.
Yeah.
They've gotten back up, they've put their shoes back on, and they've gotten to punching. Like, we're going punching today. They had a shot of Red Bull and they said, let's go.
You talk about like the dating. Like, for me now, the way that I see the Black Bears, it's like the start of the game or that 6-goal run. It's the boyfriend who, you know, went out and didn't let his girlfriend know where he was and had too much. But the fourth quarter, here comes the flowers and the you know what is great, and it's just like, God damn it, he did it again. You can't quit him. That's what the Black Bears are. They come in the fourth quarter. Jeff Teaton, shining armor, saves the day, and you fall in love with this team
is
again.
what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
That's
it's
exactly
crazy that you're calling the Black Bears snacks and sex of the NLL is wild.
That's what it is.
Absolutely.
That's what
the heated rivalry, I tell you.
but absolutely no. They have just been finding a way, and even in the games that they've lost, they've still had positive moments. And so it's like between the Desert Dogs and the Black Bears, it's like they're actually not having losses, they're having lessons, and it feels like incrementally they're learning from them in various ways. But again, like for both of those teams, you can't outscore bad habits. You can't always outscore your problems, specifically with Ottawa. Yeah. Like, how many times are you going to come back down 6-0, down 8-1? Like, not many. So you need to lock in, but it's still positive that those runs can get put together and the pressure can be applied.
There's no denying that people each and every Friday night, when they turn on the game and they see you, they say, this girl again has the best seats in the house, in between the benches. You get the best view. You will get to hear a lot of things that folks at home probably shouldn't hear anyways, but they don't get
probably I shouldn't hear. My ears was your girl. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Not to pick favorites though, but like who are your favorite teams that when you do get to call a game, you see it on the schedule, like, yes, like, because you get to hear that insight, whether it's like coaches chat or the players chalk talk, or obviously the chirps as well is probably a good thing.
I can tell, first of all, I can tell you who I don't like to be beside. Ty Carlson, brother. What is going on? Why is every possession a fucking Amber Alert, my guy?
Oh, I love it.
Brother.
Backup goal.
Like, it's obviously he's just like involved in the game, and that's what it takes to stay locked in and focused. And if your number's called, like, you got to be ready. So it's fine and it's funny, but holy, thank God for my noise canceling headphones. Shout out to Long and McQuaid, friend of the show. Maybe they get the podcast. But I like things for different reasons. Like, I enjoy Colorado because I like Andrew McBride is like very animated, and there was that one picture where I was like in the middle looking up, and I believe it was
all-timer.
Who was it?
Was it Vancouver?
McBride,
wasn't it Mouse?
Someone else. No, it wasn't. It was Buffalo.
Oh
God. No.
Would have been Chugger?
No. Who was it?
Eric Vince?
Yes. It was Eric. Yes. So it was McBride and Eric just like jawing at each other, like both posted up, Captain Morgan leg up in a bent 90 degree position. So like, that's always funny. I like when I do a game with Georgia, because the energy couldn't be more different with Ed Como and Sean Ferris. But I have a pretty good relationship with those gentlemen. So sometimes, honestly, like depending on who the coach is and what the bench setup is, like I can inquire mid-game and find out information, whether it's like an injury, whether it's like, sorry, did you say in that timeout this? Like sometimes it depends on how nosy I'm trying to be. But George is always really magnanimous with like the information. I will say that Vegas is a little tough, even though I'm like, guys, I have your back, like relax. They're very secretive. Like they're talking with the boards in front of their face. Everyone's like huddled around. So not my favorite, definitely not. Mouse is hilarious. You know, I have an affinity for him. I just think he's so funny, but he's really good too because of how fired up he can get sometimes. It really is just like hit and miss, and it honestly sometimes a team will be really good to be around in that way where it's like funny, but it also depends on their opponent, because like who are you trying to fight that day? And it's pretty easy to figure out who each team is trying to rattle early on at the break. When there's TV timeouts, you're always like, oh yeah, they're trying to get under this guy's skin for sure. Let's see if it works.
You are the queen of the vibes. So we will end on this. We are week 7. Give us Ashley Docking's official team vibes power ranking. Top 5.
Listen, I've put more work into this than a lot of school projects. Okay. So I take my all first team vibes power rankings very seriously. I think you have to start with Saskatchewan. Okay. When you look at Derek Keenan behind the bench and he's standing there with the demeanor and the stature of like a 4-star general who looks like he's the biggest hard ass at Culver after running 16K in the morning before the sun comes up and shaving you because your shoes aren't shined, you might think that the Rush have this like kind of stoic or like uptight vibe, but you guys both know this. Derek Keenan is very sneaky funny. Jimmy Quinlan is Adam Sandler aura. Mike Messenger has a team dog that comes to the games. Like this team is up. They're playing good lacrosse. They're the 2025 finalists. So now if they could just do something about that goddamn floor, because it's so hard to get a fit off, they would be forever in my bias rankings. So we'll go with Sask. You guys agree? Concur?
That's a good pick. Tough to argue. Argue.
Next, I'm going to go with Colorado. And not to use too many dating references, and I will actually preface this by saying the news about Ryan Lee this week was really brutal. Yeah. We all know what he's been through the last couple of years with various knee injuries and ailments and, working so hard to come back. So to see him go down again and put on the IR, like super brutal. Thoughts are with him. We wish him a speedy recovery, of course. With that being said, the arrival of Jack Hanna couldn't have come at a better time. And of course, your vibe is going to be at an all-time high when you bag the baddie that you've been after. Like, what? You gave him your number, the offer sheet. He said, okay, maybe not my number, but my Instagram. Take my Instagram. His boyfriend, Vegas, pulled him up and was like, whose number is that in your phone? They broke up, and then you got the baddie. So Colorado, they're up. Will Malcolm's playing out of his mind, and just I think the lore and the trajectory of this team over the past half decade, with like a coaching staff that could put me in, and I get a couple of CTOs with their system, like all good, right? Like me and Robert Hope back there soaking shots, but Colorado for sure. I think Buffalo, you have to include. These guys know how to party. They know how to balance the hard work and having a good time. It was a locker room that was like heavy on the veteran presence. And it was like very top heavy in terms of responsibility. Like Dane and Josh won 34 points last year. And then you have like Kyle and Chris and Chase and Tehoga and all of these guys. Bucky, I didn't even mention. But now that Chase and Chris are gone along with their 87 points, I don't think they have a choice but to lean on some of their secondary scorers. So Scanlon, Robinson, they're going to need to find a way to get those guys in on the action, get them a couple more touches. They can't do it all, right? They've done a lot, the guys that we're talking about, they're guys. They've done a lot, but they can't do it all. So who's going to fill that void, I think, is going to be a question as the season continues, as injuries mount, as things get a little stiff in the back. All these stars are getting a little older, so it is a little wear and tear. And also, like, Mitch DeSnoo being out and injured right now, that's a big question mark for them, because they went and tried to get their guy. Like, they tried to bag a baddie also, but now, his wheel broke a little bit, so we'll see how long he's out for. But yeah, Buffalo gets 5 booms. If you're into internet brain rot, Yep.
I know the move.
Boom. Yeah. So 5 booms for Buffalo. And then hear me out. We kind of talked about it already. Ottawa. A fresh start, a new regime, still one of the best in the game in Jeff Teat, Rob Hellier, who they're calling Bobby. Can we talk about that for a second?
That was weird.
Way more aura than Rob. Bobby, that's a vibe.
Bobby Hellier.
Yeah, like Bobby Hellier. Come on.
Bobby Hellier sounds like a 90s wrestler.
Yeah, but who?
Or a NASCAR driver.
Yeah, that too.
A NASCAR
Bobby
driver.
Hellier Jr., though. It has to be Bobby Hellier Jr.
Sponsored by Wonder Bread. Yeah, like remember those old like Wonder Bread NASCARs?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we got Bobby, we got Jeffrey. They have a making of a Cinderella story in my mind. I mean, like their opener against San Diego, as we talked about, was rough. We don't need to mince words. You go down 0-6, you go down 9-1 to Vegas, but they just have that dog in them. I feel like this year something is just a little bit different. So again, you have to execute. It's a recipe for disaster to think you're going to outscore your problems. But this team, would have folded last year in a lot of those situations. They would have been in a hell of a tough spot. They didn't do it. So yeah, they're my big dogs of the week. I just made that up.
Well, big dogs.
That's going to be a thing
week.
Now. That's going to be a thing.
Yeah, big dogs. Big dogs. Doc, we got to get going here. We have dinner reservations. We got to do all the other things, but as always, appreciate your time. You bring the heat. You don't mince words, and you're the best in the business. Thanks for your time. We'll chat soon.
Appreciate you guys. See you soon. Let's split apps.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Never disappoints. Always with the fire. I didn't know we were going to go that deep into the dating world. But
here
we're a crossover show. And Doc always with the best. Let's quickly get into week 7. We got a lot of games to get to. 5 games on Friday. It's the busiest Friday we've seen in the National Lacrosse League. Usually 1, maybe 2 or 3, but 5 games on Friday. It starts with our game, Halifax and Ottawa. We've talked a lot about this game. Rochester at Philly. I think this is a sneaky, interesting matchup, knowing what Rochester just went through. Philadelphia's been showing some signs of improvement since the start of the year. And this is sort of like an old school Philadelphia-Rochester rivalry game.
How about the total on this game, Teddy? I know box bets is a little bit, but 24.5. The odds makers are thinking there are going to be goals in this one. And why not? Why wouldn't you think it's goals? Sure, you're probably going to get a bounce back game from Rylan Hartley. I can guarantee you that guy is going to have a chip on his shoulder the size of the Grand Canyon. He is pissed off about the way that he played. That defense is pissed off about how they played. But with that being said, it doesn't matter because you have 2 really dynamite offenses. Obviously, we know what Rochester is capable of. I've been banging this drum all along. Do I think Philadelphia's make the playoffs? No. Do I think they're going to be near the bottom of the league in the standings? Yes. But do I think they can score the ball really well and they're going to be a fun team to watch offensively? Hell yes. Yeah. Breno Rito's coming off a sock trick. He's leading that team in scoring. Joe Reziteritz is sneakily putting together another great season. He's only got 4 goals, but he's got 10 apples. Eric Fennell has been so much fun to watch. Him healthy and in great shape. He has been great. Dalton Young's looking really confident. Sam LeClaire's looking great. Dustin Burkhoff, transition player of the year, perhaps? Okay, maybe not, but the dude has been logging crazy minutes for that team and been playing really well. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I think Rochester stings them. I think Philly puts up a good fight here. But, I really, really think that, Rochester going into this game, they're going to have to stay focused because they've got one of the best rivalries. We talk about great rivalries. Another great rivalry is Rochester Buffalo. Worry about the task at hand first. Do not overlook Philadelphia, because if you do, you're going to be going into that game coming off a loss instead of saying, okay, we got our one. Let's go 2-0 this weekend.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, you're playing the next night, so you don't need any stupid shit at the end of the game. I don't think we're getting Hartley Damood 2 Friday night in Philadelphia. Also on Friday night, immediately after our game, forever a roughneck, Dane Dobie will be enshrined by the Calgary organization. It is Vancouver at Calgary, TSN Game of the Week doubleheader. It'll be Matt Cullen, Brad Challoner, Chantel Chan calling that game. We haven't seen Vancouver since December 19th.
It's crazy.
This is a team that is, made some changes now, bringing in Max Adler. But, when you haven't seen a team for almost a month, you kind of forget what they can do. So tell me, what are they going to have to do to go in and play spoilers? The return of Jesse King and Curtis Dixon to Calgary. Reese Calley's back to Calgary. That the Calgary Roughnecks and their fans want to stick it to Mouse and crew.
Well, that's the thing, Teddy. Like, if this was any other of the 13 options for this game, or I guess 12 if you don't include Vancouver, I'm saying, like, Calgary's live in this game. Calgary is going to be, very motivated. They're going to be, wanting to put on a show. And Jake Elliott said on his pod, said, normally for these banner nights, I'm riding with the home team. But he brings up a great point. The other side is just going to be just as motivated coming into this game. The homecoming of King, of Dixon. You got Dubs heading back into that arena as well, playing his old team. Miloski's been back there, but obviously emotions are going to still want to be running high. Those guys are all close with Dubs too. They want to put they obviously, it's an emotional night for them. A guy that they played alongside for a very long time is getting honored for the organization that they won championship. There's so many factors. Aiden Walsh, revenge game, for God's sake. There is so much emotion into this game. I think you got to say Vancouver, even though they're on the road, like, has the edge here. And Calgary, like, if Calgary didn't win in San Diego last week, like, I feel like this would maybe be a spot where you think about saying upset alert. But they're feeling really good about themselves. When a young team is coming off a win like that, it is so rare to see them put two together, especially in such a big moment in a big game with so many things on stake. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people have, though. I really do.
It'll be the first time Delbs has played against Calgary since the trade. So, you said it's his sort of return back to the Saddle Dome as well. So, this game is going to be wild, and there's going to be some bad blood in this game. Again, that game, second of our TSN doubleheader. Saskatchewan at Vegas. We talked a bit about this Las Vegas team. News out that the Wrath of Khan, Caleb Khan, has been activated to the active roster as Alex Bouquet goes on the short-term holdout. So I don't know if we'll see him in that game. But this is a Saskatchewan team that's kind of going on all cylinders right now after two big wins over Halifax. Another big test for this Las Vegas team, but maybe a statement game for Saskatchewan.
It really is. And I think Saskatchewan, hearing after that Ottawa game, they talked about how, like, they really felt like that was one of the worst games that they played as a group in a very long time. They felt like they really did not bring it. And then after that, grinded out defensive battle against Georgia, and then two emotional wins against probably their biggest rival at this point. They are on firing on all cylinders. What they do not want to happen is what happened in game number 1 or even in game number 2 is you get up big and you don't put the foot on the gas, because Las Vegas showed last game against Buffalo, if you let up against them, they're going to be able to catch up. That's just the fact of the matter. That's what's going to happen. I think not enough people are also talking about the fact that Buffalo was also down 2 defenders in that game. Desnew and Belter also went down. So they're playing pretty shorthanded. That's why Dane Smith was playing basically transition that game, both sides of the ball. Nonetheless, though, Vegas is a team you gotta play for a full 60 because they can sting you. And then in that game against Ottawa, they felt like they played like maybe 20 minutes, but the 20 minutes they played, they looked great. But besides that, you and I were in that building. They did not look good. This is a statement game for them. Just to keep, like Ashley said, the vibes are so high with this group. Another big win down in Vegas. The fellas can, get after it and have a good night. I just think that this is again another close game, but I think the better team comes out with the victory here.
Toronto has lost 1 in a row. San Diego's lost 2 games in a row. 2 teams kind of going the opposite direction right now. Their vibes are kind of low in the rankings. Who has the most pressure on them in this game?
This is tough because I think the pressure is surrounding both teams quite a bit. I think San Diego has to be the answer, just considering their record, just considering it's at home. We were talking about this, like, I don't know if it was in week 2, maybe, Teddy, but like Pechanga is an arena that you go into and you expect a dogfight and you expect crazy things to happen. And it doesn't matter what the score is because Westberg's going to say, hop on my back. We're winning this game. Last 2 home games for them, they've looked uninspiring, not creative. Goaltending has been an issue. Defense has been chasing the game. I think it's got to be if San Diego goes down, drops to 1-3, I think there's a major cause for concern for this group. And we could see, I don't think, anything drastic like coaches have fired, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a trade. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of lineup shakeup. But with that being said, Toronto dropping down to 1-3 that is a ton of pressure. But I don't know. For me, it's San Diego. But the more I think about it, maybe it's Toronto. I don't know.
I think you said it off the start. It's both teams, man. It's both teams.
It's crazy, and I think you could argue Toronto because no one. Maybe I was just really high on Toronto this year. I think a lot of people were high on them, but like you told me, if you told me at the start of the year Toronto would be 1-3. Looking at their schedule, I'd say there's not a chance. There's not a chance that they're going to be 1-3. At worst, 2-2 maybe. So there's a stupid amount of pressure. And I think if you could kind of even put the magnifying glass on them even more, Teddy, I think there's a ton of pressure on these goalies.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think either of them have lasted a game in the last couple outings out, right? Like, both starting goaltenders have been pulled in Rosie, or Holochuk even started last game, right? Like, so there was some issues of who's the guy in Toronto. How short of a leash does O'Rig have in that game? So a very tense one down in Pechanga. That wraps up the action Friday night. Then we get some doubleheader games. Teams playing back-to-back really for the first time this year. Rochester will play Philly in Philly Friday and then have to come back home as the Bandits and Banditland will be waiting for them in Rochester. Those fans are going to be coming down the I-90 to cheer on that game. So tell me, Buffalo's often had Rochester's number. To continue this momentum that they have after that Vegas win, they can't look at it like, oh, we got a tired, wounded dog coming in after playing the night before. They just have to go ahead and take care of business.
I will say they do see it as a tired, injured animal, and you got to pounce on that thing
on them
and go right away. I think that's what you got to do. I think you got to go into this building and you Ashley talk. I'm shocked. I'll tell her at dinner tonight. I'm shocked that Buffalo was so low because I think they are the vibes king. I think they are the team that has the most swagger in the league. They still believe they're the champs, as they should. I think they're going to go into that game and say, this is our arena. This is our territory. Look at all these fans. It doesn't matter how many people are talking about you in the power ranking. Little boy, little brother, you might not be owned by the same people anymore, but we still own you. That's the mentality they have to have. They have to have it from the get-go, and they cannot take this Rochester team lightly. And with that being said, on the flip side with Rochester, man, it's one of those things where you can't be afraid. You can't be tired. You got to go. You have the offense now. Whereas in years past, you couldn't say we can't go blow for Rochester or with Buffalo. We got to slow the game down. I would argue that maybe Rochester wants to speed up the game more than Buffalo wants to nowadays.
Yeah. I can see that being a thing. Absolutely. You and the Mutants will make the journey to the TCC in Oshawa as the Thunderbirds will take on the Firewolves. It's also the debut of the Oshawa Green Gales jerseys, and everybody wants to be a Shamrock. I get it. But these jerseys are clean. I love them. A throwback to the great Minto Cup dynasty of the Oshawa Green Gales. But, we've talked at nauseam about Halifax. This is an Oshawa team that put up some good numbers in the last game against Ottawa, but they fell short in that fourth quarter. How do they carry that momentum over despite the loss and take advantage of a tired Halifax team?
Spin the ball. You be athletes, use that athleticism on both sides of the ball, get up on defense, make those big boys run. And in transition, like I know Glenn Clark likes to play honest defense. He always talks about honest defense and taking transition chances when they come. I would be thinking about pushing the ball even more and taking more chances because you got to expose the tired legs and expose a Halifax team that has struggled immensely after starting to figure it out at the start of the year, getting off the floor, old habits creeping in. And I think from an offensive standpoint, again, I talked about it at halftime. I threw a tweet out, and you and I think in one of the group chats were talking about it. It's like Oshawa's still not going to the middle as much as they should, but they looked more dangerous. Balls were dying. The lefties get the ball. It wasn't just staying with the ball. They weren't just attacking north-south. Ball was swinging east-west. They were coming across the top, and even if they were shooting from the outside, they were on the run. They were changing their angles. They were shooting through traffic. They were getting to the top of the floor. They were just a lot more dangerous. Would I like them to see them get more to the middle and create chances that way? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're not going to try to be a team that you're not. And this is a perimeter team, an elite shooting team. And I think especially, and we don't know. I assume Warren Hill's probably going to get the start in both games unless he's not very good at all on Friday night, which as of late would tell us no, because he's been fantastic. If you're going to get to Warren Hill, you got to get to him quick, because as soon as he finds his stride, it's really difficult to be had. But this is as close, and this is becoming my catchphrase. This is as close as a must-win game as a must-win game could possibly be without being a must-win game.
The final game of the weekend, Colorado and Georgia. These two teams just love to play really good games. Colorado leads the series 9-6, 176 goals for, 192 against. Like, the most recent games have usually been pretty close, but now as I look at the schedule, the last time they played, December 27th, Georgia beat them 12-3, but the two previous games were 13-12. So most likely going to see some goals in this game, but we've got a goaltender duel in Dobson and Ward.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Dauber has been on another planet since that first game in Buffalo. 5 against Oshawa, gives up 7 against Saskatchewan, and somehow loses that game, and then holds Colorado to 3. He's feeling great. He's feeling confident. The defense, honestly, I know I was so high on this defense, Teddy, to start this year. I didn't even think they would be this good, but I think this is going to be a game. They hit that 12 number last game, and it was good enough to get it done. With the way that Colorado's offense looks last game, 12 might not even be good enough, to be honest. I think you're going to want to shoot for 13, 14. Who knows? Because both these goalies are great. Both these defenses are fantastic as well. But this is going to be a very entertaining lacrosse game.
Want to see if we get a healthy-ish Lyle Thompson. He needs to be better for Georgia. But I think the big caveat is, with no Ryan Lee, can Colorado get Andrew Q back. And I've learned not to doubt Pat Coyle and his teams whenever I kind of say, oh, they're not going to be good this game, or they don't have the firepower because of injuries. They always find a way. But if they can find a way to get Andrew Q in, that will be a big bonus for them. So again, a busy week, 5 games on Friday, including our TSN doubleheader, Halifax at Ottawa, Vancouver at Calgary, then 3 games on Saturday, all games on ESPN Plus, TSN Plus, and NLL Plus. Let's check in with the Polar Bears, and we've got a winner in our Bets on Bets Edmonton.
Time now for Box Bets, your source for all the lines, odds, and props from across the world of lacrosse. Brought to you by CoolBet.com. Stay cool, bet responsibly.
Hey, we're having a good day, lads. And we're still in the mix, baby.
Last week we had Jeff Teat and Dane Smith, 8 or more points. That was easy money. It was a little stressful late in that Buffalo game, but Dane Smith finally got that extra point, so we cashed that one. What's the exclusive this week, Mr. Gregoire?
Well, Teddy, funny you ask that, because we actually went with 2, because I'll be honest, I thought the people were crazy. You got a winner in Jeff Teat and Dane Smith burying 8 points each. We line your pockets. We boost your bucks in your Cool Bet account, and then we put the poll out and you vote for something else. What are we doing here, folks? What are we doing?
Ride the hot hand.
So I said, exactly, ride the high end. So I said, you know what? We are going to, starting forward, have 2 parlays each and every week. We are going to have our usual OTB exclusive, but we're going to call that the box bet of the week. We're also opening up something. We're opening up a shop. It's called the Prop Shop. So we're going to have 2 exclusive. One will be a player prop exclusive, which you and I will put our dumb brains together and come up with something. At this rate, it just might be Jeff Teat and Dane Smith 8+ points every week, as long as they're playing games.
Yeah.
But the one that the folks voted on, and again, a lot of that was tongue-in-cheek because I do like this play as well. It's Rochester over Philly in game number 1, Vancouver and Saskatchewan all to win. We're going with the dogs in that game, all to win, and you can only get that at coolbet.com.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Bets on Bets Edmonton was the little competition we were running over the last few weeks to give you an opportunity to join us in Edmonton next week for the 2nd annual NLL Unboxed game. Calgary Roughnecks taking on the Georgia Swarm. Who is our winner, Patrick?
Well, we actually technically have 2 winners here, Teddy, because
we're so gracious.
Exactly. The folks at CoolBet decide, okay, so here's the thing. Friend of the program, big listener of OTCB, Steve Neufeld. Reach out to him, tell him he's the winner, and he was absolutely crushed because, well, he has a suite to the Vancouver Warriors game. Big night planned for him. So what we decided to do, okay, we're going to send him a different prize, a Cool Bet prize pack, some Cool Bet bonus, and making sure that he and his pals have fun in Vancouver. So he said, okay, well, we still got to give out these tickets. We still got a hotel room. We got to give it out to someone who's going to be able to be in town. So we put the randomize button, and Zach Rezanoff is the winner of the Edmonton Best on Bets. So he is going to be in town in Edmonton, taking in the game, watching the Georgia Swarm take on the Calgary Roughnecks. So congrats, Zach. You have already been reached out. You already got your tickets in hand. So we're excited to you and I get there, because I'll be honest, I've never been to Edmonton before. I've never been to that building before. It's my first time there, but all things that I've heard, whether it's folks in Edmonton or some of our crew for TSN, they say that building is awesome.
Yeah, I went and saw an Oilers game last year for the first time at the new rink. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna I'm going to try and pull some strings. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'd love to show you guys the Hall of Fame room that's in Rogers Place. It is phenomenal. It's a great trip down memory lane. But congratulations. We will see you in Edmonton. It's going to be chilly, so pack accordingly. But as always, if it's your first time or maybe you've been around here for a long time, head over to coolbet.com and play along with us with the OTCB exclusives. Lax classes on there. The Loose Mesh boys have their parlays, plus all the other sports are in the lobby where you can play, participate, and have fun. When you register, put in all your information. If it's your first time, type in that promo code OTCB, and the Polar Bears will match your first deposit up to $200. So you get a few extra Polar bucks to enjoy along the site. Not just for prop bets, not just for parlays. Maybe you want to hang out in the casino and have some fun as well. Coolbet.com, as always, stay cool.
Bet responsibly.
Thanks to Ashley Dawkins for stopping by, give us some time. She's patiently waiting for us in the lobby to go for dinner, so we will get out of here. He's Pat Gregoire. My name is Teddy Jenner. This has been another edition of the Off the Crossbar podcast on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and on YouTube. If you go to a game this weekend, everybody, take a friend. If you take a friend, take two. Buy them a beer. Lacrosse, friends, and beer, the perfect trifecta to spend your January. Until we speak again, stay safe and be excellent to each other.